when two became one.
Welcome back, folks. Welcome
Welcome
back.
back.
How it goes?
Yes.
How goes it?
All right.
This is the podcast where two became one, where we talk about real marriage,
Yes.
real healing,
Yes.
real faith.
Real faith.
Let's get it.
Let's
I'm
go.
nice and comfy.
Okay. All right. You get me?
I'm ready to pop.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in this podcast today,
Mm.
today's episodes are going to go through some of those idioms that we kind of grew up with, right?
Yes.
So we're talking about stay in a child's place
Mm-hmm.
and how it followed us.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into
So,
this.
all right. So, growing up, you said the idioms, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
growing up, what did stay in a child's place actually mean in your household?
Um,
Stay in a
exact
child's place. You
right.
heard that?
Yeah. That just basically meant don't cross no lines that was adult territory, right? And so, um, if you had questions that were, I guess, deemed adult questions, or you questioned an adult about something, you were told stay in the child's place. Now I don't really know if it was more so maybe you were asking what they consider inappropriate questions, or if you were questioning something that they were doing and they didn't want to be called out by a child.
Yeah.
So but now I still feel like sometimes there is a child's place, but what does that look like?
Yeah. Now, in certain situations, you know what I mean? Like, because we might watch something on TV or see a commercial or something and
Mm-hmm.
then jump out of there thinking it's okay to ask. And it's
Right.
like, you know what I mean?
Right.
But when it comes to like development,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure about this. Give me some more insight. Like,
Right.
some questions, I guess, are warranted. But I was raised the same way. Like, with certain things that we were just scared to ask because, that backhand comes swift. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
But then it changes you, it molds you on how you think, how you operate, and it can actually have lasting effects into relationships and
Mm-hmm.
communication, husband and wife type stuff. So yeah, I mean it's weird.
Yeah,
It's weird.
it is.
It's weird.
So, with that being said, did
Yeah.
you feel like you had a voice that mattered growing up, or did you feel like you were just expected to obey and not ask
Yeah,
questions?
absolutely. I was expected to obey, not ask no questions. Yeah.
Well, you was
Miss
raised
Mary
by
Lee,
grandma,
yeah, Miss
so.
Mary Lee wasn't having none of that. For instance, if I was matter of fact, this, I remember this. I had a ton of homework. I went
Mhm.
to a private Christian school. I had
Mhm.
a ton of homework, and my grandmother called herself cheering me up. She says, "All right, well, we gonna have chicken pot pie for dinner or whatever.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
go ahead, keep doing your homework." Now it's going on like 8, 9 o'clock at night, and I still had at least about 2 more hours of work.
Right.
And she's like, "All right, well, I mean, the food's been done. So take a break, come down and eat." And she told me, "Yeah, I had chicken pot pie. Bet I
Mhm.
love them crispy little chicken pot pies."
Yep.
I run downstairs and it's a big old what you call it? A big uh, well, it's not a bucket, but
So like a
pot.
pot.
There we go. Yeah, like one of them stew pots. A big old stew pot
Uh huh.
with boiled macaroni noodles,
Oh.
chicken necks, and like ham hocks in it, and it's just bubbling over, bubbling over. And in her mind, I guess, because where she was raised, that down south somewhere, that was what they considered chicken pot pie.
Oh.
So I had my mind tuned. That was going to be the crispy pot pie with the chicken chunks in it and the little celery
Mm-mm.
and the crust and nice. And I looked up and everything in my soul was like, "No, this ain't chicken pot pie." But if I
But you
would have
did not.
said, if I'd have told, "You know, this ain't chicken," man, all this would have been on fire. All this would have been chicken pot pie. So no, I just ate what it was. So yeah, no, I had to suck it up. You know what I
Oh,
mean? It wasn't no.
I'm sorry that you had to experience that.
No,
I'd
I
have
ain't
been
had
like,
no voice. I ain't had no voice.
nah, grandma, I
No,
can't eat this. This
no,
ain't chicken pot
no,
pie.
absolutely not.
Uh-uh.
Yeah.
So, if we think about it, a lot of common parent sayings. Did you go through any parent sayings or no?
Parent sayings,
Mm-hmm.
like even though I heard a bunch. Now, mind you, I wasn't raised in a whole bunch of idioms. Um, but for the most part, like I said, I gotta give credit where credit is due with my grandmother. Um, what she said to do,
Mhm.
it was sort of honorable. You know what I mean? Like, she never said, do as I say, not as I do, because I guess she felt as though raising a grandchild, she had raised her own children and she
Mhm.
know the do's and the don'ts. Okay, I messed up here with this kid. I messed up here with this kid. She was basing it on her past experience. So it wasn't never no do as I say, not as I do. She learned from her
Okay.
own experience. So she was trying to get everything right. So she was doing things right in front of me. She didn't want to taint me with, okay, I'm doing this, but I don't want you to do that.
Right.
Because she probably did that with her kids and saw how it
Mhm.
played out and was like, no,
Mhm.
no, no. So she tried to do her best to be on the up and up. Now, mind you, there were some negative reinforcement,
Mhm.
like, like if I got on her nose or if I got on her nerves, it was like, yeah, black self,
Mhm.
or yeah, I mean, like, or if I call myself smelling myself or feeling myself, she was like, you ugly thing, you, like, yeah, it was like, and real quick,
We talked about that.
mom Claudia, mom, if you see this video, because she can attest to what I'm saying. I it's certain things that my grandma used to call me,
Mhm.
and my mom Claudia, which was our neighbor at the time, and her and my grandmother were real close, and they would talk on the porch, and there's certain things that my grandmother would say, and my mom Claudia, she would just be like, "Why you tell that child that?" Because she
Mm.
she was such a mom. Mom was such a mom. You are her mom. I love you, mom. But yeah, I was called some things. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah.
So when I look back, some of the sayings I think that we kind of heard was "do as I say, not as I
We
do."
heard that.
You
Yeah,
know,
I didn't hear
few things like that. Because I said so.
that.
I probably said that a few times.
You said that to your kids a few
I
times.
think I said
I
that to
probably
our
heard
kid.
that. I probably heard that because I said what I said. Yeah, you said
Exactly,
that.
exactly. So those are just some of the things that what happens in my house
mm,
stays in this house, you
okay,
know.
okay,
So some of those things I think many people probably heard that, but maybe they didn't. I
okay.
don't know.
So with that being said, looking back, how did some of those sayings shape how you viewed authority?
I will say the whole do as I say, not as I do. Sometimes it made me question. It made me think like, oh, okay, you want me to do this, but you're not going to do it
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
It's more so like, oh, I just thought of another one. Practice kind of what you preach,
Right.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
So if you telling me to do something, you should also be doing it,
Show me
right?
the
As an
example.
example.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, I think as an authority, I think I wanted to do something a little bit differently. If I said to do something, I also wanted to show that.
Yeah.
Um, because again, aren't you supposed to be like the first example?
Look,
For,
what comes to mind is the Bible verse says, "Train up a child in the way he should go."
mhm.
Right? We want
Mhm.
to say it's Proverbs. Train up a child in the way he should go. But I visioned it literally. Train
Mhm.
up a child. So
Mhm.
that first train, that the engine
Mhm.
goes first. It shows all the other little cabooses behind it, all the little engines, all the little trains behind it. It shows it how it's done. I'm going to turn this way and lean this way. So follow me. I'm
Yep.
going to do it. So I look, even though the Bible was speaking in a statement or a proverb, but I look at it as literal. Train up a child the way he should go. You tell me to do this. I want to see you practicing this, whatever, because that's how I'm going to learn how to do it.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah.
The saying because I said so. Do you think that this phrase teaches obedience or did it kind of create confusion about reasoning and understanding?
Well, I wasn't raised under that, but I can clearly see how that's more so like you'll build up bad muscle memory doing it like
Mhm.
that. I'm not sure why I'm doing it like this, but I was raised this way. So
Mhm.
a lot of folks, even now, going to church or doing certain things, I'm not really sure why I'm going, but I was
Mhm.
raised to do this. Like,
Mhm.
no, you gotta know what you're doing this for.
Mhm.
You gotta know what you're doing. So especially in today's with our kids, what I
Mhm.
realized because my tribal knowledge of how I was raised did not serve these kids very well.
Mhm.
And it probably rubbed you wrong a couple times too, because I'd be
Yeah.
like, I turned out okay, so I'm just gonna do it this way. And you
Right.
was like, that's horrible, what you're doing or what you're saying or how you're carrying on. And it's not a good example. So a lot of times I thought I was right because I turned out okay, but no, that might have been just the grace of God the way I turned
Right.
out because if I really listened to that upbringing, I would have probably been off the rails. But yeah.
Yeah, I know because I said so. Sometimes it's like it's taking the easy way out.
It is.
They have
You're entertaining
questions
yourself. Yeah,
like, "I
yeah,
don't feel like explaining this to you."
yeah.
Like, period, point blank.
Hmm.
Do it because I said so.
Hmm.
Now, I don't know if that's right, but sometimes I know I'm guilty of that a few times.
Yeah.
Like, mom, why? Now I know. I mean, a kid is a kid, right?
Yeah.
They have questions,
Yeah.
and so you want them to have questions. Because if you shut them down or if you just tell them to do something just because, then now they really don't have any reason why. And you could have given them a logical
Yeah.
explanation, but because you didn't feel like it at the time,
Right.
you don't. And sometimes you don't have a logical explanation.
Yeah.
It's
Sometimes
like, I just don't want to do it. And
right.
you
Right.
just be like, because I said so, or I want you to do this because I said so. And that was just like the easy push button.
Yeah.
Just, I'm
Yeah.
going to go ahead and get out of it
Just
that
get
way.
out of
I
it.
don't want to explain. So,
Well, it's a bunch of childhood idioms, right? So we got a nice little list of a few we're gonna go through.
mm-hmm.
So some common parent sayings and how they shape us, right?
Yep.
Talking about our relationship and how we parent and how we communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So another saying is, children are to be seen and not heard.
Mm.
Children are to be seen and not heard. So did this mindset make it harder for you to speak up in our relationship later in life?
Um, I think when it came to parenting,
Mm-hmm.
a little bit, because again, we had a little bit of a different upbringing when it came to that.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like we kind of bumped heads a little bit when it came to parenting styles.
Yeah.
You had a more of a, I want to say strict, but the funny thing about it is like you were always seen as like
The
the
fun
fun
parent.
parent.
Right,
Like,
right.
like
It was so weird how I walked that
insane.
line. It's crazy. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, it
You're
was
right.
like,
Right.
yeah, let's go ahead and ask dad because I knew he was gonna do this. He was gonna create the mess with me.
Yeah,
But it
but I
was
was
just
also
like,
disciplinarian though.
yeah, it
Like
was
it's
just, but
weird.
it's like, don't ask dad that
Right.
because it's like I'm a pick my battles.
Oh, wait.
Um,
But with that being said, then maybe it's, now that I'm thinking about it now in hindsight, maybe it's actually easier for them. I see how it was easier for them. It was so night and day. It's like it was no gray area to
mhm,
confuse them. It was
mhm,
like, I know this area, this whole area right here is
mhm,
all happy and sunshine and fun and silly.
mhm,
Dad's gonna be okay with this.
mhm.
This area is super dark, crazy, and I know not to deal with that.
Right.
So it probably is actually easier for them, even though it's horrible parenting. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it worked when it
It
worked,
worked.
and
It worked when it
until it
worked.
didn't.
Until it didn't.
Until it didn't,
We don't
because
get to that.
I mean, there was some things that I was just like,
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Um. Okay, so I think you have some other ones. What were some of the other ones?
Another one is you should do as I say and as I do. We talked about that. What happens in this house stays in this house. That was a good one. That was a good
That
one.
was one of the ones. Yeah.
Did this phrase make it harder to talk about family struggles and trauma and stuff like that?
Um. Well, I don't know that it made it hard because it wasn't like I went through a whole lot of stuff that needed to be kind of talked about. But I think if you are in a house that has a lot of trauma or chaos or things that are concerning, I think it would make it hard because what if you're fearful that you may destroy your family or tear it apart,
Mm,
or the backlash of a family member because you did speak up
yeah.
or speak out about something because you were confused. um so, and then it poses the question like, why can't we talk about what's
Yeah.
going on in this
Yeah.
house? Like, what's so secretive
Yeah.
that you can't share?
Right.
Um,
We had a lot of pride in our households, though. That culture, our culture, period, is very prideful culture.
yeah,
You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to know my business. Because like, you don't
right,
even know that person probably went through it, could help you.
right,
Like, biblically, we're supposed to be a community. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But
But
we
it's
shoot
kind of
ourselves in
hush
the foot.
hush.
Yeah.
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 So I mean, yeah, it's not something that to make sure that you want to tell your parents. I mean, your kids. I don't know that we ever told our kids that. I can't remember off the
Nah.
top of my head.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it's too much going in this house
Yeah.
that you're like,
Hush,
yeah, I
hush.
mean, I can't go out and talk to, people outside of back in the day we partied a lot.
Yeah.
Um, And I feel like you would know that if
Right.
you
Oh
you
yeah,
were
you
a
just look at our Facebook timeline, and that's it. That's out there.
insane.
Yeah.
So that was not a big secret.
Yeah. No.
But again, I think it could cause trauma. Because again, what if somebody needs to talk to someone?
Yeah.
What if someone needs that outlet, but they're so fearful of how it's going to look at them, or
Yeah.
because they were taught, people are going to judge, or
Yeah.
people are going to see you differently, or people are going to think this certain way, um, or question. Now
Mhm.
they're showing up at your house asking questions.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think it could go one or two ways. It can be either for the good or for the bad.
Recently, I was convicted. Uh I learned just how important it is to be somewhat transparent and things like this. So I had a close friend of mine recently, I would say like a brother in
Mhm.
Christ
Mhm.
recently, and I did something for him. I was looking out, like, okay, well, I see what's going on, and he reached out, boom, 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 and in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, that's between you and I. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And in our group setting, we were sitting down, and he was the first one that stood up and said, as a Christian community and this and that third, we should be able to talk about X, Y, Z, and this and that third. And
Mhm.
my brother Cleve, man, I was able to reach out to him and talk to him about some things, whatever. He was Johnny on the spot, blah, blah, blah. Blew my mind because, like, a little bit of that culture is still in me. You
Mhm.
said, we
Mhm.
walking with God now, but by default, we didn't even know that we're doing it by default because he reached out, and I'm like, okay, well, that's between me and him, and it's
Mhm.
bleeding over because it's how we was raised, right?
Yep.
But then again, going back biblically, Paul was taken from this church or this community to
Mhm.
give over here, so there was no secret amongst.
Mm.
We're all here to help each other and
Right.
build relationships. So he even punched me in the face recently, and then, again, there's a group setting, there's a whole bunch of folks around, we're sitting talking, and he just jumped out there. Yeah, Brother Cleve was there for me, and when we talked, and this and the third, and I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, this is how it's supposed to be. Like,
Yeah.
wow, got you. And I was again, I didn't even know I was still stuck in that idiom, but or stuck in that mindset. But yeah, I was just stuck in that mindset, thinking, okay, it's between me and him. Nah, that's not how it's supposed to be. Yeah,
No, it's definitely not.
yeah.
So, how are some of these messages, would you think, followed us into dating? So, when we first started dating,
Okay.
were there moments where our childhood conditioning kind of showed up?
I know for sure mine did because my childhood conditioning was full of pride.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that you couldn't. My grandmother wasn't going to just bend and break, right
Right.
away. She would go down with the ship. The whole ship could be sinking, and it's like, well, I made this bed. I'm gonna lay in it
I'm
instead of
laying it.
reaching out or so. And I looked at that as okay because again, I honored my grandmother, right? So I'm
Mhm.
like, that must be the way to operate.
Mhm.
So things went on between you and I. Anything happened with me personally, even though I'm thinking personally, but we one flesh. What
Mhm.
happens to me affects you.
Right.
So I'm not thinking that. I'm thinking that, oh, I'll deal with this. I'll deal with this.
Right.
I'm angry or a financial bind or whatever. No, I'll deal with this.
Mhm.
No, like that affects you
Mhm.
directly, as a matter of fact.
Mhm.
So me sitting here holding all this stuff in or whatever, and then say you find out later when you could have helped,
Mhm.
or you find out later and it's too late to help.
Mhm.
I just made a bad situation worse. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I think that I know for sure that that prideful way of thinking that I carried over from the exposure I had with my parents definitely bled over negatively in my relationship
Mhm.
with you. Yeah.
I would say I had a lot of pride too in our relationship early on because again, it was like you're supposed to be vulnerable in a relationship, right? So that's when you get married, that's supposed to be your person, like you can talk to.
Person.
And like,
Yeah.
you know how we have friends, we have I have my girls,
Mm-hmm.
I call and you can quote unquote share everything with them. Well, when you get married,
Yeah.
your spouse
Yeah.
is supposed to be your person.
Yeah.
Um, Kind of like your girlfriends. Like sometimes I'll be like, "Hey, girl," and he's like, "Wait, hold on, I'm not your
Yeah. You called
girlfriend."
me girl several times.
It's like, guess I'm getting a little too close. Huh?
Yeah.
You're like, "Wait, hold on." But
Put some
no,
more
you
bass in that, baby.
become that becomes your person that you can share everything. So you're supposed to be vulnerable with that person.
Yeah.
But when you're not vulnerable with that person, then what else do you have
Right.
at that point, especially if you're in a marriage? So you hold stuff in, you allow pride to set in,
Mm-hmm.
you don't communicate. So even when it comes to like finances and stuff like that, again, I was raised to make sure that I can do this. I can pay this. Make sure you never go into a situation where you can't stand on your own 2 feet, right?
Yeah.
So that was almost a preparing for an exit
The exit.
strategy,
Yeah.
an exit
Exit.
strategy,
No
right?
doubt.
When I mean, I don't. If you don't prepare for an exit strategy, that means that you can't exit, right? It makes it harder to exit, I guess I should say. Um, but if you're preparing for an exit strategy, I feel like you're always looking for an exit. You'll find everything in that room that drives you crazy and you're like, nope, I need an exit. I need to go here. I need to go ahead. But now I'm trying to prepare for an exit. So if we don't see eye to eye with the kids, exit strategy. If we don't talk about finances and my finances is my finances is my finances, your finances is your finances, exit. Like there's always an exit strategy. So I think when we started to communicate, I was like, whew,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
like we were never supposed to do this alone
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Isn't that kind of weird? Like we're supposed to be doing this together.
Right.
Like
Right.
like
Right. Not alone
literally
together.
not alone
Yeah.
together. Like
Or
what?
individually together. No. No. No.
Yeah.
Together. Together.
So it was like this is a huge weight off my shoulders
Yeah.
when I have issues that I'm going through financially. I'm like, hey, so this is like, okay, well, let's shift this, move this plan. I'm like,
I'll pull that budget up in a minute. I'll pull it up.
let's not even talk about that. I just my brain, y'all, that's another story. He manages very well. And I love talking about money when it's in the account. But to look at his spreadsheet, side topic. Okay.
Yes.
But
But you're
it's
right though with the
but
whole
you
exit strategy thing.
you definitely want to like be engaged with one another
Yes.
because when you're in
Fully.
a marriage, it is to become one.
Absolutely.
So we want to be able to talk about that stuff. So when you can't talk about that, I think it leaves room for error.
Yeah.
And I remember even with parenting or whatever, I gave the kids options, and that used
Oh,
to
that used to burn me up because I was so ignorant
I
to
was
it.
on his hit list, y'all. He was like,
Oh,
"Wait, what?"
like I would come home and I'm like, all right, cool. I had my mindset because there's certain things that I know she and I like.
Mhm.
And so by that, okay, that's the default dinner. That's the dinner plan. I'm gonna come home and I'm gonna cook this certain pasta or this certain thing.
Mhm.
And boom, that's it. And then the kid might taste it, don't like it, or the kid might just see it, don't like it, no, I don't want it. And Keisha, the first one, she'd be like, all right, what you gonna order you? I'm like, order. I hear it and I get so irritated. Like, they gonna eat it or go to bed hungry. Like, that's just what it was in my household. What are you talking about? And so then imagine you can have a good day, and then that one little thing sort of ripped. Now I'm past progression. Now I'm like, you're giving them options. Like, I spent all this money on all these ingredients. They better figure it out and eat it. Nope. Keisha, I'm a boop, boop. No, I'm sorry. There was DoorDash. I'm gonna get some DoorDash. What do you want? You want some nuggets from
Nah.
McDonald's? You
Yep.
want some? You want a pie with it? Give them extra too. You want a pie with it and a milkshake? I'm like, maybe give them some water
You
and
always gotta
three
throw something
nuggets.
extra. I ain't that. What? Don't do.
Yes, yeah. You want 6 Happy Meals, baby? I got you. What?
I do get an
Chill.
extras because I mean you want to make sure they like it.
Yeah,
Don't say
but the
here.
extra
You better
burned me
eat
up.
this
The extra
and like it and love it,
burned
and
me
you
up.
like.
But again, that's because based on how I was raised. But yeah, like, you're right. Like if the kids really ultimately don't want it, then okay, I get it.
I
But
mean, there's sometimes, like
it's
you said,
sometimes like,
it's
okay,
like, look,
you just being funny.
I know you eat this.
Right, right.
Like,
Like,
come
come on.
on.
Yeah, like, chill out.
Like liver.
Yeah,
Like, I
yeah, yeah, yeah,
thank
yeah.
God my mom ain't make me eat that.
No, there's certain things you can't.
That
That's
was
that's almost abusive. You can't make no
that
give
was
me no
some
liver.
disgusting stuff. I literally remember that. We served that in school. I was in like elementary school. And why would they serve that in
Because the
elementary
old
school?
folks that was
That
cooking it back then,
that's just
they liked it.
I would
So
thank shout out to my mom. Thank you for writing a note and not making me eat the
my
liver,
child don't
mommy.
eat this, blah blah blah.
My
Yes,
mom ain't
though.
play.
My
But
grandmother would
she's
be like, put it on his plate. He better eat it or be hungry. That's just what it was.
thank God I had my mom.
That's
She
just what
had
it
my
was.
back that day. Nobody eat no liver.
Yes.
So were there times where one of us was shut down because of communication? Um, felt unsafe.
I think you did a lot.
Oh, I did. I would shut down a lot.
Yeah,
I
I
guess
think
I
you do a
would.
lot. I didn't. Again, there's certain things. First of all, constructive criticism,
Mhm.
any kind of criticism, because I felt the world owed me some. I
Mhm.
felt because I had such a rough upbringing, I felt that surviving that and then finding some success in the military gave me the right to just walk around and be right in my
Mhm.
mind.
Mhm.
So if you said, well, no, you should have did this way, my first thing would be like, did you survive what I survived?
Mhm.
Did you go through it? Did you deploy like I deployed? Did
Mhm.
you survive the childhood? If you didn't, then you couldn't tell me nothing. Now, other folks that went through a similar struggle, I would
Mhm.
always confide with them. I would always empathize and sympathize with them. But anybody in my mind that didn't go through that crazy childhood trauma
Mhm.
couldn't tell me anything. The crazy part about it is you could be telling me something's going to make me a millionaire
Right.
tomorrow.
Right.
But I was so stubborn in my
You
in
wouldn't
my
want to
own
hear
fault
it.
because I ain't trying to hear that. You ain't
Mm.
been through what I've been through. You don't even know nothing. Don't even tell me nothing. And now, as far as a relationship goes, I am surprised I'm sitting on this couch with you right now because had I had to survive something like that, it's no way. It's no
Not
way.
me.
Not at all. So, but yeah.
I got
So
here.
because of that, I can see how you definitely. You know what? I'm not even going. Which is
Okay.
horrible because now, like again, now it gives me an inflated ego
Mhm.
because now I always think I got it right, I got it figured out.
Right.
And it's like you could have did that 2 times better, or you just cost us a whole bunch of money in the long run. You don't even
Mhm.
see it yet. You know what I mean? Like so,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like, we live and we learn. You go through experiences, and again, you have these um, generational things that
Mm-hmm.
happen, right?
Yeah.
And so experience is always the best teacher.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times I did shut down because I was like, he don't get it. He don't understand me.
Yeah.
He's not listening. I know I didn't go through it, but I have family members that went through it, and I feel like I have grasped enough about it to
Yeah.
somewhat help or give an advice or even push you in the right direction. So if you don't want to hear it, what else am I supposed to do? What am I
Right.
supposed to say? And I don't want to be judged for not going through it. So, that was kind of, early on. Thank God we're not that way no more.
But I would say, even being that way, like, that's why I'm surprised to be sitting on this couch with you because if you already have the mindset of exit strategy, right? I got to
Mhm.
figure out. I got to make sure I got something so if this don't work out, I can roll. And then you're getting fed that every time something negative comes up, and I want to correct him. I want to help my husband out. I want to give him this jewel,
Mhm.
but he gonna look at it like I'm judging him or I'm criticizing him or I don't know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
That just the devil whispers even louder now. You
Yeah.
already got this exit strategy set up, and now he just pushed you to the edge a little bit more.
Mhm.
Go ahead, girl. Look at this dude, man. You're not listening to you.
Right.
So with that exit strategy, that's like leaving the door cracked for the devil to put his foot in
Right.
and mess up something that could be awesome. You
Yep.
know what I mean? But yeah. No. So you're talking about the impacts on marriage. So did we ever repeat some of the same patterns that we grew up with? Some of the things that you were exposed to as a kid. Did you repeat some of those?
Um, I think I was trying not to, but unintentionally I did a little. Like, I'd say, for instance, with trying to be relatable with my child and wanting her to come and talk to me and things like that. I somehow, in the beginning phases, kind of was pushing her away
Mm-hmm.
with not being emotionally attached,
Mm-hmm.
or loving her the way she needed to be loved, right? Because I'm thinking, because I'm not
Right.
lovey dovey, and I know you love me without saying that you love me all the time or hug me and do all of that stuff, that works for everybody.
Right.
Like, I thought I could just do stuff and be good. Like, we hang out together, we're
She just would
fine.
have been like, my mom hates me. Like,
Right.
what?
So, like, I was just like, oh my goodness, thank goodness for my mom,
Yeah.
being very close with
Yes.
her
Yes. No,
and
love you, mom.
letting
Absolutely.
me know, like, you are not okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You think you're cool, but you're not that cool. So I think those were some of the things that I, you know, had to change and reevaluate. And I don't even think it was, I fully realized it. I mean, I tried to get it a little bit early on, but once we started walking with God, I think that's really what opened my eyes to say, okay, you love this way, and
Yeah.
you're patient with this way, and you meet people where they are,
Mhm.
not where you want them
Not
to
where you
be.
want to be. Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Good stuff.
Mhm.
So parenting in the future. So we talk about parenting, right? So is there, since we know what sort of what right looks like now, what are some ways that you've already implemented or will implement to prevent some of this repeated behavior, some of these idioms, just burying them now? Like, be done with that. Break that
Um,
pace.
I would say definitely the whole stay in a child's place thing. I feel like there's um a better way to communicate that. So when I say a child's place, I mean not wanting to grow up too fast. Like go outside, be a kid,
Mm-hmm.
enjoy the sun, play at the playground, do silly stuff,
Mm-hmm.
you know, be creative. Don't worry about what Carmelo used to always want. When am I getting a phone? When can I do this? Like,
Yeah.
why are you trying to
You
grow up?
7 years
Like,
old, bro. Like, relax.
you talking about a phone right now. I mean, he has
Right.
a phone now,
Yeah,
but
yeah, yeah.
before he's been
Yes.
asking for a phone for years, and I'm
6, 7 years
like,
old.
so you could be glued to a phone,
Yeah,
so you can be on social media? No.
right.
So that you can just be chatting with your friends, like go outside and communicate. We didn't have phones back in the day. Like you wanted to see your friends, you needed to go outside
Mm-hmm.
or call on a landline phone. These kids don't know anything about that. And then also to ask questions. Being a kid is asking questions,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, because
I want you to ask questions.
mm-hmm.
That way you're not asking somebody else those questions.
Like, amen. I'm getting the wrong information.
Yes,
Yes, indeed.
I need to know what questions you're asking.
Yes.
Ask them to me. And then I'll be like, okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you the kid version
Mm-hmm.
answer to that. But like see me in a couple of years, we're gonna dive deeper.
Yeah.
Those type of things. And now we're able to, give you scripture
Mm-hmm.
behind a lot of the stuff, and kind of lead you the way God says you're supposed to go, not just have you out here in these streets just trying to figure it out, or your friends
Mm-hmm.
telling you what they think.
And they don't know nothing either. So yeah, yeah. Y'all peers.
Right.
Yeah.
Y'all kids out here together just assuming.
Right.
And again, I don't know what goes on in their household. So
Amen.
so I don't
Amen.
know what they're being taught. And it's coming over to you. But also it also allows us to kind of weed out some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like we know what's being taught in
Mm-hmm.
our household. So if you see something differently,
Yeah.
you can have a different character or a different mindset, like my mom and dad prepared me for this. Or so
Okay.
like I'm not trying to for you to not know what's going on in the world. Like, let's talk about it.
Let's go. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I can tell you exactly how we feel about it,
Yeah.
how God feels about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we definitely do have those open conversations. There's no what happens in this household stays in this household. Matter of fact, what happens in this household, let's share.
Let's share. Absolutely.
Let's share. We're
Absolutely.
called to be disciples, right?
Absolutely.
Tell
Good or
everybody.
bad. Yeah, yeah. We need help. We need help.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
let's share. There's nothing crazy going in here that we should be ashamed of
Right.
or gotta hide from. So
Right.
I would say definitely would talk to the kids about that stuff to try to change some of um those things that happen
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
generations before
Breaking
us.
those curses, breaking that pattern. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah. So with faith and healing,
Mm-hmm.
what does the Bible teach us about breaking generational curses and renewing the mind?
Oh well, of course, Romans 12 too. I mean, Romans. Was that Romans? Yeah, 12 verse 2. Yeah,
Okay.
renew your mind. Like basically, do not be conformed by this world,
Yep.
but be renewed by the. I mean, be reborn by the renewing of your mind. Like basically, get into this word and see
Mhm.
what God says about things. But when we're talking about just parenting, talking about the kids, it's Ephesians 6:4. It says, "Fathers, don't provoke your children to anger, by
Right.
the way you treat them, but do everything in love."
Mhm.
So again, that to me that boils down to even everything. Let them be inquisitive. Like
Mhm.
don't. I'm not just going to say just because I said so. That's going to cause confusion. That's going
Yep.
to cause anger. That's another thing too. What's that? First Corinthians. It says, God's not a God of confusion.
Right.
Now mind you, in the context, Paul was talking about confusion in the church, though. But God's the same yesterday, today, and forever. So God is not a God of confusion. He's not
Right.
a God he's going to be plain, cut, concise to the point.
Right.
So if me just telling you, what I mean, do as I say, not as I do, or that's going to cause confusion. That's going to cause why? That's going to cause
Right.
resentment. Like, no. Let me just tell you exactly why.
Mhm.
You can't go over an old boy house because I saw him do X, Y, Z, and I
Mhm.
don't want you influenced by X, Y, Z.
Right.
Or I don't want you doing that because if you do that, the consequence here that's not biblical.
Right.
That can lead to sin, whatever the case may be. I mean, but there's a reason for what I'm telling you. I don't mind telling you the reason. And then when you get to, like you said, you cross paths with somebody at school or somebody in public, and I told you something, and I show you why you can't do it. You can literally tell that person, no, I can't do that, and especially if it's biblical, because God says we can't do it.
Right.
Now that's on them to argue, like, well, my mom and dad says, oh, it's cool, but oh, that can be cool for you, but I can't do that.
Right.
My mom and dad said I can't do it, but if it's something on the life tip, no, God says I can't do it.
Right.
So yeah, I'd rather just honor Ephesians 6:4, not anger my kids by keeping it funky with them. This is why we're doing this. This is why we're not doing that, and take it around with it. Yep. And with Jesus being what 12, and they had that story when he was in the church being about his father's business. I feel as though I think any question leading up to I think 11, 12 years old. I'm sorry, 10 or 11 years old is mostly like basic stuff. I can guide you through that. But at 12, I can give you some more. I can give you a little bit more information. Jesus was in the church at 12 about his father's business, and I can tell you what the Bible says around that time. So
that's a good age.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so what encouragement would you give to couples who are realizing their childhood is still affecting their marriage?
Advice I'll give couples to realize. We always talk about pray, pray, pray. My thing when I got serious. Well, no, when God basically gave me by the throat. I mean, like I made the choice to be like, right now, no, God can't fuck me for you.
Right.
But when you seriously sit down and reflect, you ask this question, which is something I was always scared to do because of certain things I didn't want God to take from me. Like I liked what I liked. But I got serious. I said, okay, God, is anything in me that's preventing a deeper walk with you or preventing my relationships, my parenting, my husbandhood, all that stuff? If anything that's preventing me from being the best version that I could be for your glory, please take it from me. Illuminate it. Let me know what it is. Show me what it is so I can eliminate it. Right. I ask you for help. Take it from me. You know what I mean? And that's when I was able to come upstairs and have that conversation with you about, I asked this from God, and God showed me exactly what the problem was, and now I can tell you. So same thing with couples trying to weed out generational issues.
Right.
What in me is not helping this relationship? Because God, you put us together. You sound saying like you honor marriage, and I want to make this work. I mean, especially with you at the helm being the third strain, which actually our third candle just went out.
It did.
Not on my watch. Yeah. So, God, I want you to be a third strand. So please strengthen us. Show me what's blocking communication with my spouse. Is it something that I grew up with? Is there a mindset? Is there a curse in our bloodline? Whatever it is, heal it, reveal it, cure it in Jesus' name.
Right. Right.
And go from there.
All right, guys. Well, you heard it. That was this week's episode.
Indeed.
We definitely hope you enjoy this episode. A lot of these phrases that we were raised with were meant to discipline us, right?
Yeah.
But a lot of times they kind of leave us feeling confused, misunderstood, hurt. And so I want you to know that you can ask questions like, this right here literally has all the answers.
It's the cheat code.
It really has all the answers. And so we hope this podcast, this week's episode, really inspired you to ask those questions, to really look in the mirror and see, am I making repeat generational problems happen again? Or am I going to break it? Are we going to change this mode with us, right? Because again, we didn't know what we didn't know.
Right.
Until we started walking this journey and got serious about our faith, and realized that there was some things we needed to question growing up, or some things that we just wanted to strengthen, and having the right backing, Jesus, really helped us see that we could make some changes, and it really impacted our family overall, like how we talk to one another, how we interact with our friends, how we interact with our kids. So again, we definitely hope if you are going through any of that or experience any of those idioms that we grew up with, you know that you can break that mold, and it definitely starts with getting in your word.
Indeed. And
And
I'm sorry, it's easy to point the finger and say it's the spouse. The spouse is the problem. They don't
hmm
understand me. They don't
right.
understand me. But because if you were raised in I don't know, it could be anything.
hmm
If it's natural to you, it's going to be your default setting, and you're going
hmm
to think that I'm okay, I'm all right.
Yep.
They got to be the one
I
to
got to
fix.
figure it out.
You have no idea. It's two different people come from two different backgrounds,
hmm
and maybe everything in your background wasn't peachy and keen. And that's why I love the gospel, because Jesus, everything that he taught was about let's fix you first. Don't
Yep.
point the finger at somebody else, because it's easy to do that. Let's look in the mirror and ask God about me, and let me ask God about me.
hmm
Fix me, because if he can fix me, everything else will fall into place. That's a
Definitely.
promise. That's a biblical principle. Like, look, you fix you right here. You get on one accord with Jesus Christ, and He says, "I will make sure seek ye first the kingdom of heaven,
hmm
and I will give you everything you need." Everything is a promise
Yep.
from a God that can't lie. So I'm gonna seek first. Me. I'm not. It doesn't say tell your wife to seek me first. I'll fix it. It doesn't say tell your husband to
Mm-mm.
seek me. You. Let me
hmm
fix you first, and then everything else falls into place.
Everything else falls in place. And
Absolutely.
if you guys have anything that you grew up with or any sayings that you grew up with that you struggle, comment. Let us know. We want to hear what it is
Absolutely.
that you were struggling with. Maybe we can talk about it.
I can find some verses for you. We can find some scripture.
Let's
We can find some
comment in
scripture.
chat.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Again, if you if this really touched you, like, subscribe, share. We hope you enjoy. Until next time.
Holla.